Hey everyone, so this is another post-chemo update video. I'll try to speak slower than I have in my other videos. I know I have a tendency to speak quickly and to squish all my words together, and that also doesn't help that I also have chemo brain on top, which makes me sometimes nervous about talking and probably makes me squish more words together than I should be squishing. So I will just try to speak more slowly and just be a bit more aware and mindful of that. But I just wanted to make a video talking about where I'm up to at the moment, and especially in relation to last video where I was talking about chemo brain and how that was really getting me down at the time, especially with imposter syndrome and those feelings too. And I'm feeling a lot better when it comes to the imposter syndrome side of things. I still feel funny about the chemo brain side of things, but when it comes to work, I feel like I have improved. I think maybe at the time that I made the last video, I was still in somewhat of a rut. I still felt like I was learning lots of new things and I still felt like I was in the deep end, whereas now I feel like I have a better handle on the tasks that I'm meant to do. And I think also now that I've officially swapped supervisors and I have worked with my new supervisor, I have been able to see that everything is okay, that it will be fine. And although I'm learning some new things with this supervisor, it's building on old knowledge. So it doesn't feel like I'm being thrown into the deep end as much as I thought I might have been being thrown. So that's really nice. And as well, this new supervisor is just really calm. She's really relaxed. She doesn't seem like a very stressful person, which while my old supervisor was amazing and I really hope to work with her again in the future, she just wasn't particularly happy with the job that she had at the time, and she just got stressed out a fair bit, and I could feel that stress kind of radiating from her, and while generally I'm quite good at separating myself from other people's emotions and not trying to let their emotions affect me, you know, you're not perfect. If you're working with people all the time, their emotions are going to rub off on you. And yeah, I think her stress rubbed off on me as well. So it's just nice to be working with someone who is really relaxed in my new supervisor. And so that's been really good. And I don't feel like I am such an idiot. I feel like I am learning. I feel like I am competent at my job. I feel like I'm only getting better. And I think that's really nice and exciting. I think maybe I'm also excited by the prospect of applying for my master's in the next month, so maybe that helps me feel like I'm going in some direction, and maybe that's also helping with those feelings of inadequacy and feeling a bit uncertain about career path and all that kind of stuff that I think was, you know, combined in that feeling of the imposter syndrome stuff, and chemo brain was only making that worse. So I went to the doctor to see if I was deficient in anything, and I was deficient in iron by a little bit and vitamin D by a lot. So I need to spend some more time in the sun or get some vitamin D supplements and also keep taking my iron supplements. But it's kind of ironic that I am deficient in vitamin D given that I live in beautiful sunny Australia, but even so, I guess we work, we stay inside, we just don't always spend time out in the sun, even though the sun is always there. I think that's been just a reminder for myself to go out and walk more and just, you know, roll up my sleeves, especially since it's been winter time. I've been, you know, covering up more because I've been cold. So I think I've been just trying to concentrate more on walking outside, exposing my forearms so that way they can absorb the sun, and hopefully I will no longer be vitamin D deficient. And vitamin D deficiency has been linked to low mood and other things, so it is really important to make sure that when you do feel down or when you feel tired or maybe chemo brain's getting to you, to make sure that you do some blood tests to see if you're giving your body all the nutrients that it needs, because if it doesn't get all the nutrients, it can't work at an optimal level. And if your body can't work at an optimal level, obviously your brain can't either. And I definitely feel better now that I've fixed my vitamin deficiencies, and obviously the work situation has also improved, which has been really good. I haven't looked online to see if cramps are a long-term side effect after chemotherapy, but I never used to have issues with them, and now I have more and more issues with cramps. And I mean like foot cramps or like leg cramps, like just muscle-based cramps, not so much menstruation cramps. I just never had issues with my feet. But now I've been having more and more issues with cramps, to the point that the other day I was stuck. I sat down, I think I was just watching something on YouTube, and all of a sudden my foot started spasming and cramping up, and it was incredibly painful. It was really, really bad. And I couldn't really move my leg at all. I was trying to move my foot because I know that moving the foot, I think, is good if you have a cramp in your foot. And so I was trying to think, what do I do for this foot cramp? But I didn't want to touch my foot because it was really, really painful. So I started massaging my thighs and I started massaging my calves and was hoping that maybe that would help my foot cramp. And often, even if I have had foot cramps in the past, they would just disappear after a little bit. It will like spasm up. I'll be in pain. I'll just kind of sit there for a little bit and then it'll disappear. But this time it would not disappear. No matter how many times I massaged my thigh or my calf and just waited, it was there for minutes, actually minutes. It was really painful and I could see how my toes were kind of twisted in a strange way and just my whole foot was incredibly tense. And so I was there on YouTube waiting and it just wasn't going away, and for a moment it seemed to relax, and then I went to move my foot to bring my foot closer to me and all of a sudden it would spasm again and stay like that, just locked. So I was like, okay, what's happening? Since I had my laptop right there, I just Googled what to do in the middle of a foot cramp, in the middle of a spasm. And I was reading online that, massaging the foot's really good, but my foot hurt too much to do that. And then I read somewhere that apparently between the big toe and your other toe, if you press in that muscle there, that's, I don't know, some kind of special point in the nervous system, that if you hold it, then that way, hopefully your foot should let go of that spasm. And so I held that point in my foot and eventually the spasming went away, my muscles relaxed, but I had to hold it for a long time because I was holding it for a couple of seconds and I saw that it was working. So then I just let go and then moved my foot closer to me and then it cramped up again. And I was like, what's happening to my foot? This has never happened, that it has been this extreme. Then I held back to that same point on my foot for a long time, like at least 30 seconds to a minute. And then I just started massaging my foot after my foot seemed to have relaxed and I was able to bring my foot up onto my other leg. So that way I had my foot closer to me and I just started massaging it for ages after in case it would start spasming again. But it took me a long time. It was at least, I'd say 5 minutes from beginning to end, at least 5 minutes of this constant spasming of having to hold that pressure point until my foot finally just relaxed. And I've never had that experience before. And I've been having increasing issues with foot cramps, even though it has never been as bad as that time. And I think that event happened maybe a week ago. It's never been as bad as then, but I have had more issues with foot cramps, even if they've lasted a small time, but they've just been happening more frequently. And so I don't know if that, once again, is connected somehow to neuropathy, where somehow there's been some damage in the nerves and somehow my foot and the nerves in my foot, I don't know, miscommunicate. I don't know. I need to look more into it because it just seems strange that all of a sudden I've been having these issues. And I don't know if this is me just like associating every bad thing that happens to me now as a chemotherapy side effect, but as healing as chemotherapy can be when it comes to the cancer, it also does a lot of damage to your body. So I'm just really cautious, conscious of any, changes to my body and seeing if maybe there's a link between that change and, it being associated or linked or connected to chemotherapy. And yeah, foot cramps really hurt. I'd never really experienced them, so I never knew how bad they were. Like everyone has had a foot cramp before and it's normally quite mild. It hurts, but it's over in a couple of seconds. So you don't really associate much pain with it. But if you have it for an extended period of time, like a couple of minutes, that hurts so much. And so I really hope it's not something that I'm going to have to just keep dealing with, these long, awful foot cramps. So I just really would like to know if anyone who's watching this has had to experience it, or who knows if there is a connection between chemotherapy and the foot cramp. As much as that doesn't really help me, at least it gives a bit of an explanation. I just like knowing why these things are happening. And I also turned 25 in early September, so that's nice. Thanks for watching my video, and please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. I found that really hard to deal with while sitting in that seat, seeing that my hair was so much shorter. And while I didn't cry, I could feel